What's up, everybody? Happy Collective Thursday, another edition of Giants Collective. As always, we appreciate you tuning in. Do us a favor, hit the thumbs up. It helps out huge. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell so you know when every episode drops. You can check us out on TikTok and Instagram. Links are in the description below. Big shout out to our partners, Sleeper and SeatGeek, of course. Really appreciate them coming on board this football season. You can also check us out in wherever you get your podcasts. You can check us out on Amazon, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Apple Music. If you tune in on Apple, if you could leave us a 5-star review, that would be great. So I don't want to do too much talking here. I'm going to let the panel get into it before I take a big chomp. This head coach, I can't stay. Joe Judge vibes again. Adriana, so obviously Jackson Dart's going to start this Sunday, and for the foreseeable future, he's in there now. There's no coming back. You cut the umbilical cord, you're good to go. You're born. You ain't getting back in there. However, word came out that Cam Scattaboo and a lot of other players were not told by Brian Daboll. As a matter of fact, they found out like Anthony did, like you did, like Chris did, and like I did. Social media. How does that happen?
I don't know. To me, it's just another inkling of the frustration and like the disorganization of this whole franchise. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. How do you let that get out to the media before you've told the players that are going to be starting and playing with him? They just come into practice on Wednesday and all of a sudden see Dart in with the ones. I don't know how the whole thing went down. Obviously, we might never know, but the fact that players said to the media that they found out the same way as everyone else, look, it might not be a big deal in the grand scheme of things, but to me, it proves that there are communication issues from the coaching staff down to the players. And this is something that we have seen over the last couple of years. So I think it kind of just reiterates that there's a communication problem. And we hear Daboll say all the time, oh, communication is so important, blah, 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 blah. But then don't you think you should have told your players that you were making one of the biggest changes that you could possibly make in the beginning or any point during the season from one week to the other? I don't know. The whole thing is really mind-boggling to me. I would love to hear honestly from the players what they really thought about it. Obviously, I don't think we're ever going to get that, but the fact that they were all asked about it and were like, yeah, no, we found out through social media is just so bizarre to me. Like, I get maybe you don't want to sit down and have a whole meeting with the defensive players, fine. But to not tell someone like Malik Neighbors and Wan'Dale Robinson and Daniel Bellinger, like the guys who are literally starting out there with him in the offensive line, knowing that you're going to make changes to the play calls this week because of who your quarterback is. So the fact that no one was really prepared for that going into practice on Wednesday is just very, very bizarre to me. I just think the whole thing is very dysfunctional. And again, in the grand scheme of things, it might mean more to us fans than it does to players at the end of the day. But I think it's just a reminder and a reiteration that, in my opinion, this is not the right way to go about things, that those players should have been the first people notified after the quarterbacks and after you sit down and have that conversation with Russell Wilson and Jackson Dart. And then you move on to the rest of the offense and say, hey, listen, we're making a change this week. We've got a really big game ahead of us. This is why we did it. If you have questions, let me know. And when we come back on Wednesday, we're going to be ready to go with Dart as the quarterback. End of discussion. Like, to me, it just seems very easy. Should not be that hard of a decision. And I don't know why it was glanced over or why it wasn't communicated. It's very bizarre to me.
Before we get to Anthony, a couple things. Number one, your glasses were a big hit in the last stream. I was reading the comments, and they seem to love your glasses. I don't know. Also, this portion of Giants Collect, there's definitely some interesting comments here and there, which we always have. I mean, it's social media. This portion of Giants Collect is brought to you by SeatGeek. So, like I said, if you want to go check out Jackson Dart on Sunday in his first game, make sure you go to SeatGeek. Enter the promo code Giants Collective 10 to get 10% off your tickets to SeatGeek or to the Giants game. So make sure you get those if you're going to go there. If there is any left, probably are, but just there's always tickets on SeatGeek, so you can find them. Go check out Jackson Dart in person. Maybe you're the lucky ones that can bring us a win. Anthony, give us your thoughts on the way this whole thing went down with how the players found out about Jackson Dart.
Well, before I get to that, I'll just say on top of that, if you not only want to see Jackson Dart on Sunday, but you want to go see a plane fly a banner overhead.
Oh, true. That's right.
Confirmed to happen.
That's
Definitely
right.
use the promo code Giants Collective 10.
That's right. Yeah. Forgot about that. Anthony's piloting the plane, I heard. No?
Yes. Yeah, I just got my pilot's license. I'm really excited. It's going to be a fun time. No, I think that this whole thing with the media finding out about Jackson Dart starting before the players, it just speaks volumes to what we've seen for the New York Giants dysfunction over the last several years. Like, I understand where some fans are arguing, hey, it was their day off. Did you want them to call an emergency meeting? Why? It really seems like the day before Brian Daboll had already made up his mind when he spoke to the media and said, yeah, we're evaluating everything. We all knew what that meant. We all knew that he was going to be making the change. So I don't really see how in a 48-hour window he couldn't find some time to relay that message to the entire team rather than just the two quarterbacks. Now, thankfully, he did relay the message to the two quarterbacks before it leaked out, because if that wasn't the case, that would have been a whole nother issue. But I think that there's just always been a level of leakage out of the New York Giants locker room, out of the New York Giants front office that fans have never been happy about. I think you can point to so many different examples of that where we've heard stories that realistically we shouldn't hear. Like, we've heard so many stories under the Brian Daboll regime, like when Wink Martindale was having his whole to-do with Brian Daboll. We heard about it weeks in advance of his resignation. We knew that there was some sort of drama. Then we heard about the Wink Martindale play calling snip snap. We heard about that weeks in advance of when they actually confirmed that that was true. So there just always seems to be leaks in Brian Daboll's locker room. I don't know how the players feel about that. I don't know if the players are the ones leaking it or what, but I just think generally speaking, it speaks to the mismanagement of the locker room, and it speaks to the lack of discipline and just the lack of strength that's held by the head coach in the New York Giants locker room, in my opinion.
Chris, what'd you think about the way that whole thing went down?
Well, if you remember when Daniel Jones got benched, what was it, 2 years ago or last year rather? So they tried to avoid the injury clause. The locker room reacted very poorly to that. I don't remember if that was leaked or not, or Daboll just came out and said it. I honestly don't remember. I don't remember if he went to the team first. This circumstance to me, I don't think it's that big of a deal. Now, the Giants are dysfunctional. I'm not trying to defend Brian Daboll. I'm not trying to defend Joe Shane. I'm at the point now where I'm heavily leaning that I think they're going to blow this thing up at the end of the year unless Jackson Dart comes in and saves the day. But in this specific scenario, day off, I actually thought they were going to drag it out more so from a gamesmanship standpoint, because I thought they were going to probably go till Thursday or Friday before they officially announced Dart the starter, so that the Chargers didn't know who to prepare for. That was my line of thinking. That's the route that I thought that they were going to go. Of course, they ended up doing it on Tuesday. Like Anthony said, I think if the players, if they watched the press conference, which I'm sure they did, it was as clear as day that they were going to make the quarterback change. They went to the quarterback room. They discussed it with Russ and Jones. I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal. I know a lot of people are making a big deal out of it. I think there's a lot of other things that you could point to that are dysfunctional. I personally don't think this specific topic is that big of a deal.
See, I have to disagree. And the reason being is the optics of it are terrible.
Yeah.
What do you like? To me, if you're a football team and you're a coach, you should be close with your players. You should confide in one another. I mean, you guys are spending months at a time together. You're seeing your teammates and your coaches more than you see your family during this time of year. And I just feel like you should have some kind of personal relationship with each and every one of these players. I'm not saying you have to coddle them and you got to be like their dad and all this stuff, but I just feel like, to me, it's the ineptitude and lack of communication, because if you're not communicating this, what types of things are you communicating on the field? We see these guys always, they're not executing. They commit penalties. They do stupid things. They look disorganized. And this type of thing, to me, just speaks to the disorganization of this organization, that they don't ever seem like they're on the same page. Like Anthony said, if you knew you were going to, they knew this. After the game Sunday, they knew this. There's no way they slept on it and go, well, I wonder if we're going to. Come on, man. You could have easily pulled the team together. You could have talked to Russ and Jackson first and told them. And then, you hold a team meeting to say, hey, I just want to let you guys know we're going to go for a change of quarterback. We're going to try something different. We want to try to get this thing going. And we're going to give the kid a start. And we're going to see if we can change the season up. We're going to try to, get this season going. We're going to try to win, and we feel like right now he's our best opportunity to win. It's not really that difficult. You don't have to have an hour-long meeting, but I feel like you should address the players. I mean, to me, I work in an office, so I'm not in a locker room, and I'm not saying quarterbacks are like the boss, but if my boss just kind of brought in another boss without sitting us down and saying, hey, this is going to be your new supervisor, I'd be kind of pissed. Like, why are you not telling me who my new supervisor is going to be? Why don't you give me some kind of warning? I think the players would be upset about it, but I feel like them finding out on social media it's just a bad look. Like, I don't know why you're not talking to your players. I feel like the quarterback's important. Like this whole Young Wei Koo competition, you don't want to tell them who your kicker is. Okay, I got to live with, that. But I think this was a big move. And I feel like out of respect for the players that go to war with you every week, you should at least alert them to the fact you're going to make the change. That's the way I look at it. And again, Chris, you're right. There's a lot more problems than that. But this is just another problem. I just feel like this shows they have a very big lack of communication.
I'm not gonna argue that point. I think it's a dumpster fire as an organization. I think there's 100 other things you could point to before this. That's just
I agree. There's a lot of issues, but this is just something on top of it. Like I said, the optics are bad. Kind of like when Harrison Bader for the Yankees found out, hey, you're cut. What? I didn't know. I found out on social media. Like, they couldn't even go to Harrison Bader and let him know. Like, to me, it's just a lack of professionalism. That's the way I look at it, But it's all said and done. He's a starter. Anthony, what would be a successful start? Even if the Giants lose, which they most likely will, what's a successful game for Jackson Dart in this one? What do you think would be considered successful for him?
The competitor in me wants to say that it's never success unless they win the football game. But being realistic about this team and the team that we're facing, and it is a rookie quarterback, I think a successful outing would be an outing with no turnovers. I think for all young rookie quarterbacks, you want to see them take chances. You want to see them fire the ball into tight windows. And I'm fine with turnovers for rookies. I actually think it's a good thing to take those chances and to learn what you can and can't do. But for the Giants that are trying to crawl their way back in the season and trying to find ways to clean up their messes, I think that Jackson Dart's going to need to prove that he can at least not be the reason that they lose. I think that the reason why they benched Russell Wilson is because he couldn't get it done in the red zone. He started throwing a bunch of picks against the Chiefs. He was in some ways the reason that they lost. And once he became the reason that they were falling behind and losing in those games, that's when they decided to bench him. So Jackson Dart, I think a successful first outing, just don't be the reason that the team loses. Otherwise, it's going to be a big learning curve. But I also think scoring in the red zone needs to be priority number one for Jackson Dart, for the New York Giants offense in general. I saw a stat from Kurt Warner on the Rich Eisen show. He said that the Giants have been inside 10 yards of the goal line 7 times this season, which actually ranks 8th in the NFL. So they have the 8th most trips down inside the 10-yard line out of any team. They've scored in 1 of those possessions. That is a damning statistic that tells you everything you need to know about why the New York Giants benched Russell Wilson and why they're going to make this change. So if this is the reason that they're making the change, Rich Eisen also said that the 4 and out that Russell Wilson had in the red zone was the final straw that caused them to bench him. If the reason that they're benching him is because they feel like they can't score in the red zone with Russell Wilson, then a successful outing would be for Jackson Dart to have a plus 50% conversion rate when in the red zone. So I think those are the big things. Play clean football. Don't be the reason the team loses, and actually score when you do get into the red zone.
I actually saw you put that stat on Twitter today, and that was pretty amazing. But real quick, Anthony, how much of that do you think is Russ, and how much do you think is play calling? I mean, if the play calling's bad, is it going to matter what Jackson Dart does? I mean, how many times we actually run Cam Scatterbo down there? You know what I mean?
So I still think it's an uphill,
but
No, yeah, I still think it's an uphill battle for Jackson Dart to score in the red zone because of the play calling. I think the play calling has been particularly bad when we do get into the red zone, but at the same time, in the red zone, things get so bunched up. It's a shorter field, and you have to be able to throw over the middle. And Russell Wilson, we all know, as a shorter quarterback, has never thrived throwing over the middle, but especially in the later stages of his career, he's really struggled to throw over the middle of the field. And we've even seen that this year. The overwhelming majority of his completions have come on the boundaries. So when you're down in the red zone, you need to be able to throw the ball across the middle of the field and make those reads. So I do think, even though the play calling's been bad, for example, the 4 quick outs from the 5-yard line is the worst play call that I've seen from a Giants offense coordinator since the Jason Garrett days, which actually isn't even that long ago. That makes it even worse. But that was a terrible play call, but that was also a play that was called because Russell Wilson doesn't throw the ball well over the middle of the field. So they ran all out routes so that he could see the sidelines. So their playbook has been limited, and they've had to rely on what Russell Wilson can't do and try and take away what he can't do out of the playbook. But Jackson Dart opens up a lot more options for you. He can throw over the middle, so you should find more red zone success for that reason. And on top of that, and this is a big one, he can run. Russell Wilson couldn't run. Those zone reads with Cam Scadaboo and Jackson Dart were ultra effective against both the Cowboys and the Chiefs, and they're going to be even more effective now down in those tight spaces in the red zone in the 0 to 10-yard range that we just discussed. That's where the legs of Jackson Dart are really going to make a difference. And I think in some ways, with the red zone play calls, we saw the Giants run the 2 zone reads with Jackson Dart back-to-back against the Chiefs, and then they ran the same play with Russell Wilson, and it went nowhere. And then also when they got into the red zone, they ran that stupid quarterback draw with Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
I almost think they were trying to put on film and show people this is why we're making the change with those 2 play calls, because those plays look completely different with Jackson Dart on the field. He has the ability to make those plays and throw with the ball. So it almost feels to me like they only called those plays just to kind of expose, hey, Russell Wilson can't do this. We need to change the offense up. It was like to put it on film to make a demonstration to the rest of the players in the locker room. That's how I felt about it. And that's why I do think with Jackson Dart, they probably will have a better red zone offense.
Chris, what is a successful start for Jackson Dart?
Yeah, I think what Anthony highlighted about the running game, I think that's what's going to benefit the most, at least early on, with Jackson Dart coming in as the quarterback. The dual threat capabilities, we saw the impact that it had on Scadaboo on the limited plays that he did come in. I think the running game is going to benefit, and in turn, that will help the red zone offense. If you're able to run the football, it's going to make everything a lot easier. The question is, are they going to be able to get to the red zone as often with a rookie quarterback? We'll see. Week 1, week 4, but week 1 for Jackson Dart as a starter. I'm going to go into this game very realistic. We're going up against one of the best coaches in football. We're going up against a defense that's ranked top 5 in the league in terms of points against. I think they're 4th in points, 8th in yards. One of the best defenses in the NFL. You can't get much harder for a debut game for a rookie quarterback. So I'm going to go in with realistic expectations. I'm not expecting Dart to go out there and throw 3 touchdowns. I hope he does. Daniel Jones had a terrific first game as a starter, so I won't rule anything out. It's the NFL. A lot of the times, the first game a guy starts, maybe it boosts the team a little bit, and maybe he does have a great game. I hope he does. I can't wait to watch him play this Sunday. But I'm going to go in with realistic expectations. I'm not expecting this guy to go out and look like Peyton Manning. Just look competent. Look like you feel confident playing the position, like we saw in the preseason. We all raved about I'm not talking about his stats. I'm not talking about his touchdowns. Just his pocket awareness, his ability to sense pressure. Look competent. Look like you could play the position. I'm not expecting you to be a superhero your first game going up against one of the best defenses in the NFL.
Adriana, what do you think is a successful start for Mr. Dot?
Well, when Chris was talking about Peyton Manning, I was laughing to myself because I heard ever since they made the change, all of what I've heard is, well, Peyton Manning had 28 interceptions his first year, so let's not freak out about Jackson Dart. I'm like, okay, I get it. For me, it's about making smart decisions. That's what I want to see out of Jackson Dart. So run towards the sideline. Please don't take hits that you don't need to take. I'm really hoping that now he has fully grasped the fact that he is the starting quarterback of this team for the next 14 weeks. He's got the coach behind him. He's got the players behind him, that he needs to slide or he needs to get out of bounds because it's a different ball game in the NFL. And this team is relying on him to get back up after each snap, after each hit, and get back in the huddle and move on to the next play. Like Gruden said, you live to see the next down. So I really hope that is a big thing for him this week, that he makes smart decisions when it comes to sliding, getting out of bounds. And the second thing that I mean when I say making smart decisions, if he's going to test it in the tight windows, to be smart about it. If he feels like it's closing too fast, throw the ball away. If he throws an interception, I'm not going to freak out. It's not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. It's his first game. Like we've all said, they're going against a really challenging defense, and it's not going to be easy for this team as a whole. But, I want him to just kind of start to make those smart decisions now in an NFL game. So if you feel like the window's closing, go somewhere else or throw the ball away. And I'm excited to see him run. Like, we have seen some really great scrambles and some long runs from him, both at Ole Miss and even during the preseason. So I'm excited to just see him take off. I mean, when I saw Russ have a couple runs this season, I was like, wow, I didn't know this guy could still run like this. So I feel like Dart is going to bring a different type of explosiveness and excitement to the run game. So I'm really excited for that. But as a whole, I just want to see him walk out of the game having made mostly smart decisions. And that doesn't mean he's not going to make mistakes. I mean, maybe just don't make some of the boneheaded throws that we've seen Jones make over the years. So.
Yeah, for me, I don't really go in with high expectations. I don't really know what to expect from Jackson Dart. He looked good in the preseason. The Giants look great in the preseason. They totally fooled me. So I'm not putting any stock in any of that. It's a tough game. I understand there's not a lot of soft landing spots. I mean, you could have played him against New Orleans. That's a softer team. But it wouldn't matter. The next 3 games after that are a gauntlet. You're going Philly at Denver at Philly. It doesn't matter. He's going to have to get his feet wet at some point. So you can't just sit there and go, well, we got to hold him off. Again, I don't think they're bringing him in here to win games. Obviously, that's the goal. But I think they brought him in to save their job. I really do. And they made a great point. They got to score in the red zone. And I think that Jackson Dart's mobility is going to be huge in that aspect, that you have to honor the RPO because he could take off with it. And again, if there's linebackers bite, that's going to leave Scadaboo a big hole in the middle. And, down inside, he's going to run a guy over to get to the end zone. But what I really want to see from Jackson Dart is his confidence. I don't want to see him out there hesitating. I don't want to see him out there, patting the ball and looking scared. And I don't want the moment to be too big for him. Like you said, Adriana, if he throws a pick, it is what it is. If you have conviction in the throw, like he threw an interception in preseason where the window just closed quick, but he had conviction in the throw. And you're like, okay, don't make that mistake again. You realize how much quicker this game moves. But I just want to see him have confidence in what he's doing. I mean, I think that's a big thing. And you can tell right away. Daniel Jones, if you watch him in Indianapolis, playing with a confidence level we didn't see here. Maybe in that game against Minnesota, that was the most confident I ever saw him play in a Giants uniform. And whether that had to do with coaching, play calling, the New York media, the pressure, whatever it was, he wasn't performing here, which was always my biggest thing with him, was there was no confidence. Jackson Dart looked like he had command of the huddle. Jackson Dart checked to a one-on-one to little Jordan Humphrey in the first touchdown he threw. He seems like he has a really high football IQ. And what's that test? Only he and Lamar Jackson got like 100 on that test, whatever that test is. I forgot what it's called. But he obviously has a really high football acumen. So let's just see him go out there and command the huddle and look like he's been there before. But I'm not expecting much. If he goes 150 and 3 interceptions, I'm not going to be coming on doing my post game and killing him. He's a rookie. He's going to have time to develop. So I'm anxious to see, though. I mean, if there's one thing I could say about this, it's been a really shitty beginning to the season. Maybe Jackson Dart pumps some life into an otherwise, a cadaver of a Giants team. So we're on life support. We'll see if he can inject any life into it. Speaking of life support, Brian Daboll, that's our next topic. Chris, how long do you think Brian Daboll has? If Jackson Dart, say he struggles and they lose, and then they lose in New Orleans, it's very possible they go 0-8. How long does Brian Daboll have, do you think?
I mean, I don't know. I'm not a fortune teller. I still believe Daboll's going to see the year, unless something ridiculous happens, like what happened to. It's just not the Giants' way. They don't typically fire coaches in the middle of the year. I think that he will be fired, though. If this team is really bad this year, I don't expect him to be back next year if the team wins 3 games, 4 games, which if they lose against the Saints, I think I'd be shocked if they win more than 3 or 4 games when you look at the remainder of their schedule and you're starting a rookie quarterback. So I think it's leaning more towards Daboll won't be back as the head coach next year. But do I expect Daboll to be fired week 6? No, I don't. I've been surprised before, but I don't expect that. I don't see an early season firing. Maybe something like week 15 or 16 if you know you're moving on and you want to get a head start in the coaching search. That's a possibility, but I don't see a move before that.
Adriana, what do you think? What is his future with the New York Giants?
I don't think he's going to be here for the rest of the season. I don't know if they're going to be able to trade him anywhere. I do think they're going to do their best to do the right thing by him like they did with Jones. Obviously, it was a little bit different with Jones because he was with the organization for longer and they re-signed him and the whole thing. But I do think ultimately there's a lot of respect between the people in the organization and Russell Wilson and vice versa. I am sure that he is disappointed at the way that things worked out, but I also think realistically he's able to look in the mirror and say that I was part of the problem. So I do think that they're probably going to end up releasing him at some point, and maybe he will get picked up by another team. But I would love it if they traded him. We actually got something for him, but I just think realistically speaking, I don't know what teams are going to be out there trading for him, especially after what he put on film the last 3 weeks. So it's going to be interesting. But what I will say is that when they end up releasing him or trading him or whatever, I'm going to be very happy that Jameis Winston is QB2, and maybe we'll get to see him at some point this season if that's the case.
What do you think about like Daboll? How long do you think Daboll has with the Giants?
Ugh. We talked about this a little bit the other night. I mean, I thought that they really were going to stick with him for the whole year. And they were going to say, we're really going to give him the time with Dart. And, he banged the table. This was his guy. They're going to focus on it. Now I'm not so sure. I think the way that he handled the quarterback switch, the fact that he did not go and directly tell his players, the fact that the players said they heard it from the media was a little concerning to me. That I'm starting to feel like if the Saints game is a huge problem and they lose to the Saints, I think that will be the beginning of the end. I don't think they will fire him the Monday after the Saints game, but I think that if they lose that game and then they're going into the Eagles, Broncos, Eagles, and that starts to get a little ugly, that they might try to make a change and say, hey, look, we have Mike Kafka. He knows the playbook. He knows how to call the plays. He's been here for, his 4th year too. He's the assistant head coach. Like, we trust him to take it over for the rest of the season. But I think Dart's going to have a poor showing. And I think that they're going to have to lose the next few games, especially the Saints game. I think that's one that's really going to, set Mara and Tish over the edge. So we'll see. I really was like, I thought he was going to make it through the whole season, but I'm starting to second guess that now.
I did too. Anthony, how long do you think he has here if they continue to suck?
Not long if they continue to suck. I think Brian Daboll's on his last leg. I think if they're 0-6, he's not seeing week 7. That's kind of where I'm at. I think he's got a couple more weeks, and if they just can't get a win in their next 3 games, I understand that it's a tough schedule, but we always knew it was a tough schedule. That's still not an excuse. You can't just punt on the season because you're handed the toughest schedule in the NFL on strength of schedule, according to whatever the paper says. It's not an excuse for a professional head coach to go out there and start the season 0-6, especially when the front office and the general manager invested $100 million into the defensive secondary, $10 million into a starting quarterback, $4 million into a backup quarterback, allowed the head coach to trade into the first round and take his rookie quarterback, took the number 3 overall pick and drafted the best player in the draft. There's no excuse for the head coach to be 0-6 at that point, especially after the way the last 2 seasons have gone and the promises that he's made to change things and to turn things around. So, and you take a look at it from that perspective of the general manager would probably want him gone. Look at all the general manager did to give Brian Daboll success, and he can't do anything with it. How do you think ownership feels? Ownership has been going through this. They're the ones that have to answer to the planes overhead and to the fans who haven't shown up to the games and who are selling their tickets to opposing team fans. Ownership is definitely pissed off, and I don't blame them because we are all pissed off. And I've always said this about John Mara, whether you love him, you hate him. I don't think anybody loves him, but a lot of people do hate him. He is a fan of the New York Giants at the end of the day. He's not even a football guy. He's not really a business guy either. He was a young man who inherited the New York Giants from his father. He is a fan, so he is emotional like we are. When we saw Ben McAdoo get fired after benching Eli Manning, that was the fan in John Mara that decided to fire him. And right now, the fans are reaching a level of apathy that I don't know this fan base has ever experienced. Everybody's apathetic towards this team. We all see it in the comment section even. A lot of people drop the comments down below and say, I don't even care anymore. I'm miserable, and it just is what it is. When you get to that point, that's when I think John Mara, if John Mara is at that point, he's going to end up firing people a lot sooner than we think and shaking the trees, because I know that historically he doesn't like to fire people midseason. He likes to do things the Giants way, give them the season to turn it around and all that. And I understand that. But on certain moments, he's been pushed to kind of go down a different path. And I think this is one of those moments where he's feeling the apathy of the fan base. And so he's going to be forced to make some sort of a major change mid-season if things don't turn around. Because, again, I don't care how hard the schedule is. I know that we're facing the Chargers, the Saints, but then we got the Broncos and the Eagles. I understand how difficult the schedule is. But when you're a professional head coach who was formerly a head coach of the year, who's probably making millions and millions of dollars, the schedule is not an excuse to be 0-6, 0-7, whatever it is. So I don't think he's got much longer. He's got to put some wins together right now.
Yeah, the level of apathy in week 3. I mean, it's one thing if you've had a bad year and you're near the end of the year and you're out of it. But to have probably at least half that stadium filled with Chiefs fans on your home opener, I think that speaks volumes about how disgusted the fan base is with this organization, which is why I do videos and people will be like, oh, bad, that was only 2 games. You got to calm down. No, it's not 2 games. It's a pattern of behavior for 12 years. Outside of 2016 and 2022, this team has been in shambles. Or the only 2 years since 2012 we finished above 500. And 2022 is the only year we've been over 500 at any point since 2017. Because since 2022, we ain't been over 500. We've started 0-3, 7 out of the last 10 years. It's bad all the way around. So to me, Brian Daboll's future is, it's funny because in the preseason, they all seem really happy. Winning will do that. Winning cures all. They're not winning. And when you start to lose and things come out like, oh, we changed quarterbacks, but I didn't tell you, the media told you. And I feel like you start to lose the locker room. And once that happens, you can forget about it. Then he's got then it's over. If the players aren't playing hard for him, then it's completely over. Before we get into the comments, let's talk about the Charger game. I don't care who answers this. You can jump in. Russell Wilson, to me, this is why I put this on Twitter. I feel like he was a buffer. I feel like that was an excuse. I feel like he was a sacrificial lamb. And people are like, no, you had to have 2 quarterbacks. Do you think the Giants knew they were going to draft the quarterback at some point in this draft? Because if you are going to draft a quarterback, you don't need to sign Russ for 3 games. You could have started with Jameis Winston for 3 games, and you could have kept Tommy DeVito, and it would have saved you $10 million. So to me, this was Brian Daboll going, let's bring this in. This is an insurance policy. We're going to start Russ. If he sucks, well, I can go and throw him in front of the bus, and then I'm just going to.
No, that's exactly what I think it was. I mean, not strictly a buffer. I do think that they put some value into the fact that the guy is a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and he's a great guy for a young quarterback to learn under. But I think they always viewed him as a shield that would protect them from having to throw Jackson Dart in there before they felt he was absolutely ready, because they know the second he goes in there, they can't turn back. And they know the second he goes in there, if he doesn't look good, people are going to start to question whether or not they need to come back. And I think the plan, as we talked about, plans change. But I think the plan when they signed Russ was to try to get at least a half a season out of him and try to ease Jackson Dart into it, keep the team relatively competitive. And that way you get a taste of Dart, and then you have something to build off of going into the next year. It didn't work out that way. The team's 0-3. Russ looked horrible last week, and they feel the pressure to throw the rookie in there. But I think he was always a shield, or whatever the term you use. But I think that's absolutely a big reason why they signed Russell Wilson, to protect them from having to expose the rookie too early.
I also wonder if part of it was, obviously they signed both of them well before the draft. So maybe they just thought that they weren't going to be able to trade for a quarterback, or they weren't going to be able to get the one that they wanted. Like at that point, we don't know if they were all in on Abdul Carter at number 3. It might have still been too early at that point. But, in 2024, I think it was, that was the year, like I was dead certain that they were drafting an offensive lineman, because how could they not? And they were the only team in the NFL who did not draft an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman. So, I mean, I think their plan all along was to get a rookie quarterback in the draft, but I wonder if they were just like, we need some safety blankets in the off chance that we can't get the guy that we're looking for, and we're not going to, worry about our future in our last year here and like force ourselves to get Tyler Shock if he's the only one available, I don't think we'll ever really know the truth behind that, but that's kind of my guess, because it was so they signed both of them well before the draft. That obviously at that point, I think it was too early for them to know how the draft board was going to fall.
Yeah. Well, they signed him back to back. Like they signed Jameis in the middle of our live stream. And by the time we streamed again, by the time we did the show again, they had Russ.
And don't forget, Bad Dog, they tried hard to trade for Matthew Stafford.
Right.
And well, they got Jackson Dart. I'm not saying they don't like him. They traded up to get him. They didn't prioritize him. A team for all they knew, another team could have really liked him and traded up to 12 or 13 to get him. So there was no guarantee they were going to have Jackson Dart. So they didn't really have a clear plan, in my opinion. I think they knew they were drafting a quarterback relatively early in last year's draft, and they signed Russ as a shield, but there was no guarantees they were going to end up with Jackson Dart.
I actually think they like Tyler Shuck a lot. Dart's happen to be there.
Right.
Who knows with this freaking
I actually think someone in the front office really liked Shuck, and I think somebody else in front office really liked Shedeur Sanders, and Brian Daboll really liked Jackson Dart. And that's why you're seeing Jackson Dart this early, because I think that was the initial report that we heard about the Giants connected to Jackson Dart. I want to say it was from Connor Hughes of SNY. He reported the Monday before the draft, Brian Daboll's guy is Jackson Dart. And then they made the move for Jackson Dart. It wasn't the Giants guy. I remember the report saying it was Brian Daboll's guy. And if you remember the behind the scenes video, even Joe Shane said,
"Got your guy.
This is your guy. You got your guy." Like, but it didn't seem like, "Oh, we got your guy." It seemed like you got your guy. Right. So that's why I think he's in the lineup right now, is because Brian Daboll is very close to being fired. He's feeling the heat, and he's saying, "Well, this is my guy, so let me put my guy on the field and try and see if I was right about this, or if I can prove myself right to management and ownership." I think that's what it's about.
Yep. Big Brian Daboll. That brings to the well, I shouldn't say that. I was going to say we'll be back with your questions. This portion of Giants Collective was brought to you by our friends at SeatGeek. Again, if you want to go watch Jackson Dart play against the Chargers, go to SeatGeek, enter that promo code Giants Collective 10 for 10% off. Let's hear from the sponsor. 80 seconds back after this with your questions. What's going on, guys and gals? You looking for a fun activity? You want to get out of the house? You need something to do? Are you looking for a great gift idea? Well, if so, look no farther than the sponsor of Giants Collective, which is SeatGeek. With over 35 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There's more than 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports, festivals, and more. Giants season is underway. And say you want to check out Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders at MetLife Stadium? Well, it's easy. Just go to SeatGeek, scroll around, look for the tickets that you want, and SeatGeek's going to have your back. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so you know you're getting a good deal. Look for the green dots. That's good. The red dots, well, it's not so good. Plus, every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee. And of course, I have a code for you guys. You can use the code Giants Collective for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any tickets with the promo code Giants Collective. Make sure you click that link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thank you, SeatGeek, for sponsoring Giants Collective, and let's go Giants! I recorded that at the beginning of the year. I don't know if I'd want that as a gift right now. But if it was a gift, you wouldn't have to pay for it, so I guess that's good. But, you know, it is what it is. So let's get to some of your questions. This portion of Giants Collective is brought to us by our friends at Sleeper. It's the fastest growing sports app in the world right now. There's over 8 million people that use it. It's pretty much picking over under on player stats. It's a lot of fun. 30 seconds, you can do entries. They're as low as $1 minimum. You can win up to 1,000 times your cash. You also get a great promotion, a 100% match deposit bonus, all the way up to $100 by using the promo code HMA. Link in the description. Play Sleeper. I've won 1 out of 3. I can tell you my picks. You let me know what you think. The odds of this are very low, so I'm like, well, they must be good. So this is what I have right now. Where is it? I have Justin Herbert over 1 touchdown pass.
Okay.
I have Cam Scatterbo over 40 yards rushing.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I have Marion Hampton over 50 yards rushing.
Those all sound good to me.
Yeah.
Every time I do them, they sound good, and I never win. I swear to God, it is what it is. Big shout out, Larry J. Thank you for your generosity. We got some members now, baby. You can use those special emojis. Our production team is going to have a lot of work to do because they're going to have to add 20 new members' names to the outro. So, guys, hope you're ready behind the scenes to get those names in there. But thank you, Larry, for gifting 20 memberships. It's very kind of you. And you guys can use those emojis and everything else. So thank you, Larry. You're the man, brother. Appreciate it. AJ says, a Giants season ticket holder just came in my job. So I was watching you guys and gave me a tip. So giving back. Punt for Dart. Think he's going to be a baller.
Love
What do
it.
you guys think? How do you think? Get what's your confidence level in Jackson Dart? Anybody?
Mine's high.
I'm excited. I'm not gonna have false expectations. I'm gonna wait and see approach. I mean, it looks like we spent 10 minutes on this show discussing whether or not they're gonna fire Brian Daboll after 3 weeks. Whether you hate Brian Daboll, whether you not, that's dysfunction for the quarterback. So I'm not gonna, set false expectations. I'm also not gonna say he's gonna be a complete failure. I think he's got tools. I think he's got potential. But at the end of the day, can the Giants build a roster around him? They weren't able to do it for Eli Manning the second half of his career. Weren't able to do it for Daniel Jones the entire time he was here. We'll see if they're able to do it for Dart. It looks like there's a good chance it won't be Shane and Daboll that are here when they do the building. But I'm excited. And I think he's got talent. I think he's got potential. And we'll see what he looks like. He's going to be put through the gauntlet early on, going up against the opponents that we said. But, it's a rookie year. I'm not going to get bent out of shape if he looks bad. I will be overly excited if he looks great, but I'm not going to go into it with those expectations.
Maybe I'm crazy. I am crazy. I already know that. I definitely have a few screws loose up there, but I don't know why, man. I feel like Daboll's going to lose his job and Shane's going to stay here. I have no idea why I feel that way. I just do. I feel like Shane's put some talent on this. I feel like there's a lot of talent here. I do. I feel like Scadaboo's talented. I feel like Neighbors is obviously talented. I feel like Abdul Carter is talented. I feel like Brian Burns is the best player on the field right now. I feel like Thibodeau is really coming into his own. Wandale looked great the first 2 games. I don't know, man. They should probably just blow it all up at the same time. We know we don't like to alternate head coaches, and you should just bring in a new GM, let him pick his guys, and just start over. But I don't know, man. I have a feeling even if Daboll gets fired, that Shane's at least going to make it through the year. Like if Daboll goes out week 8, I feel like Shane's still going to be.
There's no reason to fire Shane in season.
Yeah.
I just feel like he's going beyond this year. I don't know why. Some people don't want to hear that. George, thank you, man. He says was in the hospital with diverticulitis. Thank you, diverticulitis. I know the word, and I didn't ever see it spelled out. Diverticulitis. Instead of MetLife on Sunday, I think I had a better time. The starter suite. Can Adriana confirm also how long the Bad Dog video with Daboll and the clown paint thumbnail drop? Soon. Soon. I'm glad that you're better, George. That's obviously that's not a fun thing to go through. So soon, buddy. Soon. If Jackson Dart really stinks, and I hope he doesn't. This doesn't even have anything to do with Jackson Dart. It's just I'm out on Daboll. So by November, I would say, I'm going to go to that Niner game. And if they really suck in that game, you're probably going to start getting the clown paint Daboll thing.
Why not Halloween? Start a little early.
Right. The paper bag will come out. All the good stuff that I bring out when the team is disgraceful. Poverty. Brian, thank you so much. Does Theo hype this season sound like JPP of tight ends?
Oh, I am so disappointed in Theo. He was one of the guys that I went into this season being like, he's coming off a great year. He was really hitting his stride before he got injured. Daboll loves him. Daboll loves the 2 tight end set, yada, yada, yada. Can't wait to see more Theo. I'm like, he's going to be a sleeper in fantasy. And then week 1 comes out and he just literally drops every ball that came his way. And I was like, what is happening right now? Why every time someone on this team does well, then nothing ever transfers over. It's like they do well 1 year or they do great 1 week. And then the next week, it's like they've never played football. It's so frustrating. And this is why that person was saying about Shane, I also think Shane has brought in some talent. I think it's the coaching that can't bring them to the next level, but Theo is dealing with a foot injury now. I don't even know if he's going to play on Sunday. So I think we're going to see more Bellinger, which I'm excited about. He's a better pass catcher than Theo was after all I heard. the way that Daboll was hyping up Theo, I was like, great, he's going to be like the next Brock Bowers out there. So I've been a little disappointed in him this year. I'm not like he's the worst player ever. He's going to be fine, I'm sure, when he comes back from the injury. But I'm just disappointed that, in a game like the Cowboys game where we put up so many points, like I thought Theo was going to be a big part of a game like that. And, we've heard so much about these tight ends that Daboll loves, and not a single one of them has seemed to have that many receptions or yards over the years that Daboll has been here. So that's been a disappointment because I feel like we've had some good tight ends on the roster, maybe like out, even Darren Waller, like when he was here, he obviously was injury prone, but he wasn't totally useless. So I don't know. I mean, he was a little bit because they won 6 games, but I just feel like there's no reason why Theo in year 2 should have come out there looking like that and dropped every ball that came his way. So I'm a little disappointed in him, but I hope that, when he's healthy, he's looking good out there.
I'm not going to be able to forgive you for mentioning Darren Waller because now that stupid song is stuck in my head. That stupid song
that song went well enough to know now still how it goes.
Oh, it's just an earworm. Because every time I would do some news about Darren Waller on Instagram, I always play that song.
Oh, that's what.
So yeah, that's let me ask you this to piggyback off the tight end thing. And obviously they haven't been a part of the offense a lot over the years, and I don't think Daboll ever really used it in Buffalo. But to Anthony's point earlier, Russ don't throw over the middle. And when you're trying to throw outside your tight ends, it's probably a lot more difficult. Do you think with Jackson Dart, a guy that is taller, that can see over the line, that will throw over the middle, could Theo Johnson now be a bigger part of the offense?
Yes, and that's one thing that I made a video about players to watch for Sunday, and I included Bellinger in that for that exact same reason. I want Bellinger and Theo. I don't care. Chris Manhertz, it doesn't matter to me. Whatever tight end is out there on the field, I want him to be used like every other tight end in the league seems to be used. Like Jake Ferguson was against us, 10 yards right down the field. Like Zach Ertz is always against us. Like Dallas Goedert, like literally every other tight end is used as a pass catcher directly in the middle of the field. So I really want to see that this weekend. I hope that this is just the beginning of using the tight end to our advantage like that, like so many other teams do, knowing that Dart is much better about using the middle of the field, and also knowing that having a big-bodied receiver is also going to be such a benefit to him.
Especially in the red zone, right?
Right.
We also see TJ Hawkinson's one, George Kittle was one for years, Travis Kelce was one for years.
Yeah.
They need to, but maybe that is the key, is that Jackson Dart can throw over the middle. Corey, thank you. He says, I was sitting in a tunnel, threw the ball in the Russell Wilson. Sorry. Russell Wilson threw the ball into the end of the game on 4th down. He hits the crossbars, but don't worry, there was an epic quarterback draw with a 30-yard quarterback in between. I don't know. I didn't understand the quarterback draw on 2nd and 14.
I didn't understand that whole 4 plays.
I didn't either.
I don't understand for the life of me why the play calling in the red zone is so bad. It just makes no sense to me. You're able to call successful plays to move the ball down the field, and then you get to the red zone, and it's like you've never done this before.
Throw a bubble screen and like neighbors.
Like I just do something.
I think it goes back.
Before.
I think it goes back to what we said earlier, and that's why I'm somewhat encouraged that the red zone offense will get better when Dart is in there. The Giants have no faith in their ground game at all over the first 3 weeks. You look, the first year that Kafka was here, when the Giants had a really good red zone offense, they ranked top 5 in the league actually in that category in 2022. Barkley. It was because of Saquon Barkley and the threat of
Jones could run too.
Jones's legs. So by no means do I think we're gonna have a top 5 red zone offense for the remainder of the year. But that's why I do think we'll get better in that area just by inserting Jackson Dart into the lineup. I think that's a big part of it. The play calling is not good at all. But the fact that we can't run it, I think it limits the offense, especially as the field condenses when you get inside the 10-yard line.
Yeah. I'm anxious to see them get down in there to see if the play calling does get a little bit more creative with a guy that can throw it in the middle of the field, a guy that can obviously run. That RPO is definitely a threat without question. And like I said, if Scatterbo gets a running start and gets through the line, he's going in. He's dragging people. I freaking love that guy. He became my favorite Giant really quickly. he's just a tank. I just love those guys. Like I want 11 Cam Scadaboos on the team. He's a guy just plays with a ferocity. Like he wants to eat people alive. Like I want that guy. I want that guy's all heart and grit. That to me, again, I'm the elder statesman of this group by a mile. Okay. But that's a throwback to old school Giants football. You know, there was a guy here by the name of Mark Bavaro, was kind of like, he wasn't the fastest guy in the world, but man, that guy was just pure guts and heart. You know, you need those guys on a team that will just light a defender up, that just give you a big play and give you a boost, a spark, something. And he's just got that attitude, man. I love football players like that. I love those guys.
Speaking of Bavaro, and Theo Johnson has been definitely somewhat disappointing early on this year. I remember when we called the game. Theo Johnson had one play where you're like, that was Bavaro-esque. He carried like 6 defenders, like 6 yards. So that was cool to see from Theo Johnson.
And that was right after Scadaboo ran over the cornerback.
Yeah.
And I thought that maybe we were going to get something going, and no, it didn't happen. Corey, thank you again, man. He says, by the way, the play calling is terrible. The head coach is terrible. Bowen is the worst defensive coordinator in Giants history.
He's up there.
What's that? James Betcher. I'll
Betcher
was so
bad. Betcher didn't have near the talent though that Bowen has.
No,
I don't think. Yeah, but I don't think Bowen messed up really bad in that game against the Cowboys.
I didn't think he was bad Sunday.
Held the Chiefs to 22 points. The Giants hung in that game. He wasn't bad on Sunday, and I don't think he was all that bad against Washington either. I mean, he wasn't great. We obviously had a lot of confusion about the rotation on the defensive line in that game. But again, he held Washington to 21 points. Giants just scored 9. I mean, what is he going to do? And also considering the fact that his defense is on the field constantly. He is a really bad coordinator. I don't think he's good, but he's not the worst in history. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, I go back a ways. I don't know off the top of my head. But I do know against Washington, when we actually got them behind the sticks, it was 2nd and 16. Now they would just play a soft zone and give up 15 or 18 yards and give it all back. Like that was driving me insane. But Betcher was terrible. Betcher was.
Oh yeah, I'm not defending Betcher. I'm just saying he didn't have the talent that he
No, and that's why I'm down on Daboll, because like I said, I think he's worse than Judge, because Judge didn't have all this talent. He just didn't. Judge's first year here, he didn't have Barkley the whole year. Yeah. He didn't have Malik Neighbors. He didn't have Brian Burns. He didn't have Kayvon Thibodeau. He had Dex. That's what he had. Yeah. Corp, thank you, man. He says there was a sci-fi show in the 90s called Sliders. New York Giants get the star of Sliders, Jerry O'Connell, and send Jackson a video message telling him slide Jackson's.
He's got to get down.
I love that idea.
We became so accustomed to Daniel Jones taking hits and getting hurt, and Jackson Dart's not nearly as big as Daniel Jones. So, like, he cannot take the beating. We don't want to see that. He's got to learn to get down and slide. He's got to.
You're not running over these linebackers in the NFL. Let Scadaboo do that. Slide. There's no shame in sliding, because these guys are looking to kill you, because they can't touch the quarterback. So when they have an opportunity to blast you, they're going to. So
I'll hold the contrarian opinion here and just say that I don't mind the fact that he goes into some contact. Some of it he doesn't need to go into. You see a linebacker, you get down. But if you guys watched week 1 kickoff Friday night game, Chiefs versus Chargers, and Patrick Mahomes was like running over cornerbacks, and not Josh Allen does that all the time too. Josh Allen's a lot bigger, but Jackson Dart is pretty comparable in size to Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes runs into a good amount of contact, and he picks up a lot of extra yardage doing that. And it also hypes up his team. Baker Mayfield's smaller than Jackson Dart. Baker Mayfield and Jackson Dart, I actually think, are pretty comparable in playing style as well, and demeanor in some ways. Baker Mayfield does that stuff. He'll even run into linebackers, and he won't care. He might get a little banged up. He just pops right back up and gets back into it, but it hypes up the team. The team absolutely loves it. And I think the fans love it too for the Buccaneers. And I think Giants fans will love it too when Jackson.
I love it. I love it.
He's going to run over a cornerback, and we're all going to love it.
I just don't want to see it. I don't want to see it consistently. I will be excited and love and amped up when he does it, but he's not 6'5", 250 like Josh Allen. I want him to take less hits. Let's put it that way.
Anthony, I think it's a really good comparison. If he could be like Baker Mayfield, because anybody knows me knows I love Baker Mayfield. I'm a Sooner fan. I've always loved Baker Mayfield. I wanted the Giants draft Baker Mayfield because, again, Mayfield's not the most talented quarterback, but you can't teach. Again, he's like Scotto. He's just a tough. He don't give a shit. He wants to run you over. He's gonna talk his shit. He's got a ton of moxie. He's got a ton of confidence. And if Jackson Dart is anything like Baker Mayfield, we got ourselves one there. Because again, I always thought Baker Mayfield had great talent, and the play calling in Cleveland sucked, and it hindered him. And then he got humbled a little bit, and then he came back, and he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league now. So let's hope that he is like. But that's a good comparison, man. He does have that kind of moxie about him. And for you older people, I know a lot of music. The Slide Jackson Slider reminds me of there was a song by Blues Image in the 1970s called Ride Captain Ride. So that's what we can do. Slide Jackson Slide upon the MetLife turf. Slide Jackson. James, thank you. He says a lot of keep Daboll justification is about who else is available. But how many head coaches would you not take over Daboll at this point?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the year, James, I've definitely graduated to the point. If this team wins 3 or 4 games, they're going to fire Daboll. He hasn't proven to be a good head coach. So I don't think there's going to be any justification to keep Daboll if this team doesn't look a lot better with Jackson Dart at quarterback. Now, I'm not saying they got to win 8 games, but they got to look a lot better than they have the first 3 weeks. I just don't believe they're going to fire him by week 5 or week 6 with a rookie quarterback that he was responsible for drafting. That's just my opinion. But I do think he'll be fired by year's end if the team wins 3 games and Dart doesn't show a lot of promise.
Yeah. Well,
To answer the second half of that question, though, that James D left, how many coaches would you not take over Daboll at this point? What's the name of the Titans head coach?
Oh, Brian Callahan.
Yeah.
I'll take Brian Daboll over that guy any day of the week. That guy is a fucking joke. Titans fans need to run him out of town tomorrow.
There's at least 20 coaches I'd rather have. At least 20 that I'd rather have.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll take Daboll over Callahan for sure. I saw Callahan already gave up play calling duties. It's week 3. That's the writing on the wall. That's how you know he's not surviving the season.
Yeah.
Brutal.
I want to give a big shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring this portion of the show. Let's hear from them 30 seconds back of the rest of your questions right after this.
Sleeper is the #1 fantasy sports app. It pays to know sports. Pick more or less on top players. Your first pick is on us, so start winning now. Play in Texas, Georgia, Minnesota, and 27 more states. Pick anytime across all sports, pregame or live. Over 10 million players are already on Sleeper. Make your picks count. Score up to 1,000 times your cash. Join today. Get up to $100 credit using code HMA. Call your shot on Sleeper. Download now.
Thank you, Sleeper, for that. Our buddy Tutoy! Respects to the Kings of the New York Giants live podcast and all the Dire Giants fans. Greetings from our entire club heading back to Italy. And please, slap that fuck Dumbo out of here fast. Tuto, I'll say it again. You were right. I was wrong. He is fat fucking Dumbo.
Not looking good. Not looking good, Tuto. Not looking good for Daboll.
No.
He is going to get stopped out pretty quick. The team's that way. God, I couldn't have been more wrong about that guy, man. I just, I was living high off of one playoff win in 10 years. I guess that'll do it to you.
It's just, I know, like, we all wanted to get on board, though, because it's your 4th coach in 7 years at that point? Like, how could you not want to be on board and be like, we got our guy, like, we're done with the whole coaching carousel? And that's like the biggest disappointment to me now is we thought we got our crew, and now it's just like we're gonna have to go through this shit all over again. Like, when is it gonna end?
Yeah, but to be fair to us and every fan, like, it was impossible not to get it. He won Coach of the Year. He took a team that nobody expected to go to the playoffs to the second round. So he showed a lot of promise year one. And I've learned this, though. I will not get overly excited about a coach or a GM until this team is a legitimate Super Bowl contender.
Really consistent.
Again, I will not jump on. I got excited about Joe Judge. I got excited about Joe Shane. I got excited about Brian Daboll. Won't happen again until I feel that this team is competing for a Super Bowl. I'm not going to get excited about any head coach, any quarterback, any general manager. I'm just not going to do it.
We're in the same boat there because it's the same with me. It's just almost like it's just a refreshing start. They show some promise. You're like, yes,
Yeah.
It's going to turn around, and then as quickly as it turned around, it turns back around to where it was. And they do, instead of doing a 180, they do a complete 360. So
Yeah.
that sucks. Ryan, thank you, brother. He says, I'm starting Dart in fantasy. Am I cooked?
Yes. I'm excited
I was
about
going to say maybe.
I'm excited about Jackson Dart, but
Turn to the point.
unless you're in a 3-quarterback league, starting a guy who's never started a game in the NFL, going up against the top 10 defense, yeah, you're in trouble.
You're in trouble.
Questionable choice.
Yeah. And it's not even a bye week, right?
No.
No, too early for that.
Yeah, I wouldn't start him. If you have another person available, I would go that route. Corey says, I know it's too early, but who do you think should replace Daboll next year? I'm a Cliff Kingsbury guy myself.
It's too early, man. I don't even know the candidates right now.
Cliff Kingsbury is a candidate. People are like,
Tomlin's a candidate. That's the guy I'll be pounding the table for.
Who?
So there you go.
Tomlin?
That's the guy.
Tomlin's pie in the sky. If they can get Tomlin, you run.
Well, the Steelers went. If the
Jesse
Steelers,
Minter though too.
If they win
Defense
7 or 8
coordinator
games, like I feel like Steeler fans want him out of there. I would
take him I would take that guy in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I'll friggin' go down there and carry his bags in New York myself. I'd love to have Tomlin here without question. Before we get out of here, let's just do this really quick. We'll start with Adriana, prediction for Sunday's game.
Oh, I think Jackson Dart is going to play well enough to the point that I think we're excited about him, especially someone like me who I'm excited to watch him, but I am very scared too. So, and I'm keeping my expectations very, very low. And, if he has overall a good game, I will be thrilled. With that being said, I don't think that they're going to win. I think ultimately the Chargers have everything better than us. They have a better defense, a better offense, better red zone offense, better coaching, et cetera, et cetera. The list goes on. I think that we will score a couple touchdowns. So I'm going to say the Chargers win this 27-17.
Anthony, what do you got?
I said that to Baddog today on Twitter. I have the same exact score.
Really?
Yeah.
Anthony, what do you got?
I know the Chargers are going to win. That's my pick. I don't know what the score is going to look like. It's really tough to tell because I don't know if the Giants are actually going to start converting some of those red zone chances now that Jackson Dart's in the game. So maybe they do put up some more points, but ultimately I think the Chargers have too much firepower on offense and their defense is special. So I'll just pick the Chargers to win. I don't think I'll throw a final score out there. I'll say that it'll be a more than one possession game though.
I'll throw a score out there. Chargers are going to dog walk the Giants. It'll be 31-10. It's not going to be close. I think Jackson Dart has a couple good drives at the beginning, and then the Giants do what they always do. It'll be like 14-10 midway through the second quarter. 2 minutes ago, Chargers will get a score at the end of the half, and then they'll just, like I said, that'll be the end.
Yeah.
The Giants have a half where they're competitive, and then the Chargers cream will rise at the top, and they're going to dog walk the Giants. They'll win by 3 touchdowns. It ain't going to be close. Giants will get their first win against New Orleans, but this one, no way, no how. Rookie quarterback ain't beating Jim Harbaugh. It's not happening.
I see Marvin saying the Giants might cover if they do, I think it would be a backdoor cover. I don't expect it to be. I think it'll be a 2-possession game at least throughout the majority of the game. You look at the Chargers; they have the better quarterback, they have the better offensive line, they have the better wide receivers, they have the better running backs, they have the far superior coach, the better defense. You're starting a rookie quarterback in his first game. I mean, I'm higher on the Chargers than most. I am going to the Super Bowl before the year started, mainly due to their coach. I think he's an incredible coach. I don't think it'll be a very competitive game. I do have it at 27-17. I think Dart will have a decent game. He'll throw a touchdown, hopefully, to Neighbors, but I think the Chargers win pretty convincingly. Quentin Johnson looks a lot better this year in the couple of Chargers games I've seen on primetime. Ladd McConkey, obviously a ridiculous slot receiver, had an incredible rookie year last year. Keenan Allen looks like he's younger. They got a really talented running back core. Joel Alt's one of the best left tackles, if not the best left tackle in football. Justin Herbert looks like he's, I think, elevated himself towards approaching that elite tier. And they have a really good defense. Like, I just can't see us winning this game. I hope I'm wrong. That's why they play the games, but I don't think we're going to win this one.
Don J says, bring in Tomlin and add Jim Schwartz as DC. If Schwartz was still around, I would love him. Just give me a guy that blitzes all the time. All the time. Tudo. Baddog Entertainah, since you can't go to links no more, Sunday, January 4th will be in Dallas to slap around some cowards and accidentally slap Fatbuck Dumbo as well, I don't think you're going to have a chance to. I think he'll be fired by January. I don't think you have a chance to slap him. I think he's going to be slapped out by then. I do. I don't think he's making it much farther. I don't think he's getting out of November. By Thanksgiving, he'll be cooked like the Thanksgiving Day turkey. We'll see. I hope I'm wrong too, but I have no.
I don't know. I wouldn't even be upset at this point. I don't think they'll do it.
No faith in this. I hope Jackson Dart looks great. It's really what I'm hanging on. I just hope that he plays really well and we have something to be excited about. Because other than that, man, it's just seems like another year of Giants football, which hasn't been good.
Now, if they ever were to win this game, which again I don't think they will, we're going to be so excited going.
Oh, you'd be into class.
You're going to say Jackson Dart looked incredible because the only way they're winning this game, Jackson Dart's going to have to play really well. Jackson Dart looked incredible. You got a winnable game against the Saints, and you could be looking at 2-3. So that's the beauty of the NFL. It's the ebbs and flows, right? It's why people change their opinions because it's a sport that is so unpredictable, and the season, because it's so condensed, there's so few games. Every game means so much. So if Jackson Dart goes out there and looks really good, we're all going to change our minds about the outlook of the season. So that's why we watch on Sunday.
Maybe. I don't think my outlook will change till they get through that gauntlet of Philly, Denver, Philly.
Not that I think we're making the playoffs, Baddog.
No, I know, but I'm saying I want to see what they do. If they somehow squeaked out a win here, they should beat New Orleans. I can't see it happening. Marvin, curious of the thought of promoting Brandon Brown to GM if they fire Shane.
No,
I did. You don't like it? I like him.
No, I mean, Baddog, at the end of the day, he's part of the staff. I personally just want. I mean, if everyone thinks he's so great, he must be doing something. And look at the roster. The roster. I mean, I don't know. For me, if you think the team is a mess of it, I want nothing to do. I want everybody gone. Like they've won 1 out of their last 15 games. I want everybody gone. People, I don't know. That's just me personally. If they do it,
like I said, I don't think Joe Shane's getting fired. To call me, I am crazy, but I don't think he's getting fired. Brian, thank you so much. DraftKings Roulette loves Scatterboo.
Oh, number 44.
What's DraftKings? I don't even know what that is.
I can't lose. I cannot win on roulette no matter what I try. My husband plays all the time. He wins. I win on the slots. Can't ever win. But that's what I'm going to do from now on. I'm going to do number 40. No, there's no 44 on roulette.
There's only 36 numbers.
36. And there's double zero. So I think there's 38. There's a 0 and a double 0, right?
It's a good point then. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe
how that works.
Maybe
I don't know why I play roulette. It's terrible odds, but I do like playing roulette. 33.
He wore 4 in college. Maybe that's what he means. I don't know. But
that could be. That could be.
Yeah,
that makes sense. But with that said, that brings us to another close of another edition of Giants Collective. As always, we appreciate you guys and girls tuning in. If you haven't done it, hit the thumbs up and subscribe. Don't forget to ring the bell for all notifications. You can check us out on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, iHeartRadio, wherever you get your podcast. You can check us out on TikTok and Instagram. As always, gigantic shout out to the sponsors of Giants Collective, Sleeper and SeatGeek. Check them out. You can use the promo code HMA on Sleeper to get a 100% match deposit bonus all the way up to $100 in your first deposit. Use the promo code Giants Collective 10 to get 10% off your SeatGeek tickets. Next time we see you guys, we will most likely be 0-4, but we will at least be able to talk about Jackson Dart's performance. And maybe we'll all be pleasantly surprised and the Giants have a miracle in their satchel and they win their first game of the year.
And Ray, I saw your post at the end to I love Tom Cruise, to shove it in my face as the show's ending. Tom Cruise can absolutely act. He's a fantastic actor. And I can't wait till he gets in his next role, Ray. But we'll talk movies another time.
Right. Like Ray from Rain Man. Ray. Tom Cruise. That was a great movie. Anyway, I'll hold you guys up any longer. For Adriana, Anthony, and Entertainah, your boy, the Bad Nigga Diz. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Go watch Thursday Night Football, and we'll see you on Tuesday. And
Go Giants.
Go Giants. Somewhere.